Let me ask you this. Have you ever looked up at the night sky and wondered about all those twinkling lights up there? I'm not talking about stars or planets or even spaceships from some alien world. I'm talking about something much closer to home, but also much more dangerous, the Watchers. And so it was that Adam and Eve were cast out of the garden and humanity's fate was sealed. Humanity would forever be trapped in a cycle of sin and suffering, never to know the peace of Eden again. Now, you might be thinking that I am talking about some kind of doomsday cult, or maybe a paranoid government conspiracy theory. They saw the strength and power of men and lusted after their wives. And so it was that the Watchers broke their sacred oath and mated with the daughters of men, thus giving birth to a race of giants known as the Nephilim. But let me tell you something, my friend. The Watchers are real, and they have been here since the beginning of time. When the humans saw these tall, handsome, incredibly muscular, impossibly charismatic men descending from the sky, they were, of course, very impressed. And when these angels then proceeded to take these women as their wives, the humans were like, wow, okay, cool, I guess, and didn't think twice about it. I'm talking about giant, incredibly powerful creatures known as the Nephilim. These beings were not only big, but also incredibly strong and long-lived. They grew to incredible heights, some of them reaching up to 15 cubits tall, and lived for hundreds of years. Well, let me tell you something, my friend. They loved nothing more than violence and destruction. And they taught this behavior to humans, too. They taught them how to build weapons of mass destruction, how to control and manipulate others, and how to unleash chaos and destruction on an unsuspecting world. You see, when the Nephilim showed up on Earth, humans were pretty much defenseless against them. Well, let me tell you something, my friend. The Watchers weren't just negligent, they were actively malevolent. You see, the fallen angels didn't just lust after human women, they also coveted the power and influence that came with having dominion over the earth. He knew that if he didn't intervene, the earth would be lost to darkness forever. And so he sent his most powerful archangels to deal with the fallen ones once and for all. So the Nephilim took it upon themselves to teach humans how to fight and defend themselves, as well as how to use magic and enchantments to gain power and influence. The archangels fought valiantly against the fallen ones, determined to save humanity from the clutches of darkness. Some say that the fallen angels will one day be released from their prison and will rise up to corrupt humanity once again. But others say that the prison of the abyss is inescapable, and that the fallen angels will be trapped there forever. He commanded the archangels to bind the leaders of the fallen angels, especially Azazel and Semyaza, and throw them into the darkest pit beneath the earth. And their presence is a constant reminder of the battle between good and evil that rages within us all. As for the Nephilim, God commanded that they be destroyed in the flood that would soon come upon the earth. But the fallen ones were powerful and numerous, and the archangels were hard-pressed to make any headway against them. The fallen angels reveled in the chaos and destruction they unleashed, and they grew stronger with each soul they corrupted. And he spent his time on earth corrupting anyone and everyone he could, including his own son, Cain, who murdered his brother Abel out of jealousy. Humans used magic and enchantments to gain power and influence, while the Nephilim used them to simply cause mayhem and destruction. Even the animals weren't safe from the Nephilim's twisted games, as they used them for sport, hunting them down for fun or using them in their dark rituals. But their spirits lingered on Earth, waiting for a chance to return and corrupt humanity once again. They became what we now know as demons, evil spirits that prey on the weak and vulnerable, seeking to possess their bodies and turn them into vessels for their evil schemes. So it should come as no surprise that the Nephilim, being the sons of the fallen angel Azazel and the human women, were also prone to violence, destruction, and all things evil. Angels, like humans, have free will, which means that they can choose to follow the rules or break them. In this case, the Watchers chose to break their oath because they simply couldn't resist the allure of human women. I mean, they were supposed to be good, right? Well, let me tell you something, my friend. The Nephilim were not your typical angelic beings. No, sir. They were fallen angels, corrupted by their demonic heritage and influenced by their father's teachings. And I don't blame them, because let's face it, human women are pretty amazing. You see, long ago, way before the flood and before any human kingdoms, there was a time when the world was still young and humanity was still innocent. Now, where did these angels go to find these women? Well, they went to a place called Mount Hermon, which is located in the mountains of northern Israel. Well, it's simple, my friend. These angels, thanks to their immense power and strength, only had sexual relations with these women, taking whatever they wanted whenever they wanted, and then leaving whenever they felt like it. No strings attached. There, they swore an unbreakable oath to God, promising that they would never, ever reveal the secrets of the earth to mortals. And with that, they descended from the heavens and took whatever human wives they desired. You see, after Adam and Eve were cast out of the garden, the world began to change. Humanity began to multiply and spread across the earth, building cities and developing new technologies. But the spiritual realm was also changing. The fallen angels, led by Satan himself, were plotting ways to corrupt humanity and prevent them from ever returning to the favor of the Lord. It was during this time that God created the first human beings, Adam. These angels were powerful and wise beyond compare. They were sent to earth as guides and protectors to help humanity through the difficult challenges that lay ahead. And Eve, and placed them in the Garden of Eden to live in harmony with nature and with each other. But as time went on, the serpent, who was really a fallen angel named Samuel, tempted Eve to eat from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, thus bringing sin and suffering into the world. But wait, I hear you asking, what does any of this have to do with the Watchers? Well, everything, my friend. And so it was that God created the Watchers, a special group of angels whose task it was to watch over humanity and protect them from the forces of darkness. However, as time went on, the Watchers became enamored with the beauty of humanity. Now, you might be thinking, why would these angels break their sacred oath? I mean, they were supposed to be pure and holy, right? So anyway, these angels, led by their ringleaders, Azazel and Semyaza, decided that they were gonna take some human wives for themselves. The problem was that these angels weren't exactly discreet. Now, if you've been keeping track, you might be wondering, how did these angels manage to take so many wives without having to actually commit to marriage? Anyway, after having relations with these human women, the Watchers had children, and I'm not talking about cute little babies. And let me tell you something, my friend, these Nephilim were not your typical long-lived supermodels. No, sir, these guys were absolute maniacs. This wasn't necessarily a bad thing in itself, but the problem was that the Nephilim also taught humans how to use their newfound power for evil. Now, you might be thinking, why did the Nephilim do this? You see, the serpent, who was really the fallen angel Samuel, had been cast out of heaven long before the Nephilim were born. It wasn't long before the earth was filled with the bloodshed of innocent people, the stench of corruption, and the echoes of laughter from those who reveled in pain and suffering. In short, the earth had become a cesspool of violence, corruption, and despair, a world where good and evil were blurred and the line between heaven and hell was thinner than ever before. But you might be wondering, how did things get so bad so quickly? I mean, the Watchers were supposed to be protecting humanity, right? And so they used their knowledge and power to corrupt the humans, to turn them away from the true path and lead them into the abyss of darkness. But fortunately for humanity, God saw how far his creation had fallen, and he was not pleased. A great battle ensued, a clash of heavenly proportions that shook the very foundations of the earth. But then, as the battle raged on, God revealed his ultimate plan. And so it was that the Nephilim were washed away in the Great Flood, their giant bodies carried off to the depths of the ocean where they have never been seen since. As for the fallen angels, they were imprisoned in the abyss, trapped in a prison of their own making where they will remain until the final judgment. Only time will tell what fate awaits them, but one thing is certain, the Watchers are among us. Thank you for watching.